Hi guys, welcome to another vlog. So in today's vlog, I'll focus on self-prep. So for students who want to prepare by themselves, if you don't want to use a tutoring service or a coaching service, how should you go about it? And I'm all for it, by the way. I'm all for self-prep. I myself have always prepared by myself, and I think that's the best way to do it. So in terms of your overall approach to your prep, it should be on the same lines as I've spoken about in an earlier vlog. So go through that earlier vlog of mine. You will see the number on my head somewhere. So go through that and you'll see I've asked you to structure your prep in 3 stages. So you start with the accuracy stage when you work on your concepts and you try to increase your accuracy. Then you move to your time management stage when you work on your timing. And then you take full length tests at the end. So now starting with the accuracy stage, the first stage, what material should you use? In fact, even before I go to the material, I strongly suggest that you guys start with a diagnostic test. And when I say a diagnostic test, I mean an online computer adaptive test. Read GMAT Prep Test 1. So you can download the GMAT Prep software from the GMAT website, mba.com. It's a free software. It has 2 tests. Take the first one. When you take the first test, don't do the essay. You can skip the essay. You can skip the IR. It won't let you skip the IR, so just select something. Don't do it properly. So skip the essay, skip the IR, do math and English properly. Because I just want you to get an idea of your score out of 800. I mean, I don't really care about essay and IR at that stage. So start with the diagnostic. When I say diagnostic, I've seen students get confused with the diagnostic test that is there in the OG. So if you've seen the OG, it starts with the diagnostic test. And that, if you ask me, is a terrible test because it has the most difficult question in the entire OG. So it's hardly a diagnostic if you ask me. So if you start with that, it will probably scare you off the GMAT. So the diagnostic test that's there in the OG, take that at the end of your prep when you're attempting high difficulty questions. The diagnostic test I'm talking about is an online test, the GMAT Prep one. So start with that because then you will get an idea of the kind of questions you get on the GMAT. Because sometimes I've seen in my classes, students have no idea how a critical reasoning question looks, or they have no idea that on the exam you won't get all sentence corrections together, all critical reasoning together. It'll all be mixed up. Students seem to be surprised at that. So all these things will not happen if you've taken a diagnostic. You'll know how the real thing looks and works. So start with the diagnostic, and then start working on your concepts. You would need 1 or 2 sets of good books. Because you will learn something from each book, unless you buy something absolutely rubbish, which please don't do that. I mean, of course, you can use Aristotle Prep books. There are other books also available, but get 1 or 2 sets of good books. When you get these books, make sure they also have a lot of practice questions, because you would need some practice questions in addition to the ones in the OG. So pick up one topic. Sentence correction, I think, is a good topic to start with. So go through the concept first, go through all the grammar rules, and then start attempting questions from the OG. When you attempt questions, maintain an error log so you can keep going back to it and analyzing your performance, trying to identify some trends in the kind of mistakes you make. Approach the other question types in the same way. Mix up math and English. Talking a little more about material, a lot of the times I see students go on a material collection overdrive. So I see students with 5 GB and 6 GB worth of material, most of which will be of no use to you. In fact, it will harm your performance, it will confuse you. So here is a list of material that you need in your self-prep. You need the 3 OGs, so the main OG and the other 2, OG verbal review and OG quant review. You need 1 or 2 sets of good reference books hopefully which also come with questions. And finally, in the end, you will need 6 GMAT prep tests, 2 are free, 4 you will have to buy, and you will need another 4 or 5 third-party tests. So this is the material that you require. I mean, once you've done this and you have time and you're very enthusiastic, you can do a little more stuff, but this is good enough. So now a few more tips for your self-prep. The first is, don't take too much advice. I think one place where people who are preparing by themselves go wrong is they ask too many experts for too much advice, and sometimes the advice that comes is contradictory and you will get totally confused. So in case you are asking for advice, ask 1 or 2 people who you trust for whatever reason, who you think have enough credibility, and follow their advice. You can also go to the forums and you can read up on people's experience who have taken the GMAT recently. You can pick up stuff from there in terms of what material to use or other, tips that may be helpful for you in your prep. Make sure that you have a plan, because one place where self-prep becomes a problem is discipline. There is nobody sitting on your head telling you do this now, do this on this day, do this on that day. So sometimes, midway into your prep, you will tend to lose focus. So make sure you have a plan written down in front of you. Not like a daily plan, but yeah, maybe a weekly plan or a progress report. Because some people I've seen, they go crazy with the plan and they make an hourly plan with a complicated Excel sheets. I don't like complicated Excel sheets. So keep things simple, but have a broad plan in mind with some timelines attached to it. Because that will keep you on your toes, that will keep you motivated, and that will give some direction to your prep. In fact, a study group is a good idea. If you have 2 or 3 friends who are taking the GMAT, or even people in your company or people you know in your city through forums, it would be a good idea to form some kind of a study group, because then you guys can keep each other motivated. There's also a bit of healthy competition, so I'm all for such study groups. Now, talking about forums, one thing I'll just warn you guys against is don't go again crazy with practicing every question that you see on online forums. I mean, forums such as GMAT Club and Beat the GMAT, because a lot of the questions which are posted over there have dubious sources. I mean, the ones which come from proper authentic sources, by all means attempt, but a lot of the questions come from dubious sources. A lot of the questions are very, very old. So I've seen people get confused with regards to rules in sentence correction particularly. For example, I've told you that between whether and if, don't think, blindly go with whether. And on the forums, you come across a question where if is the correct answer and not whether. So you will get confused. But let me assure you that will never happen on the GMAT, which is why the forums can confuse you at times. So make sure before you attempt questions on the forums, you know the source of those questions. Stay away from things like 1000 SCs, 1000 CRs, 1000 RCs. Those documents are absolutely useless, of no use to you. I've even seen something like brutal sentence correction, and I keep saying, there's a lot of crap floating around on the forums, and there's also a lot of good stuff. So you need to be able to have the wisdom to figure out what is good, what is not good. Or you can watch my vlog and just take the easy way out, and I'm telling you what is good, what is not good. Just follow it and you will be fine. The whole thing should ideally take you 3 months to 4 months. I think if you follow a disciplined approach, 3 to 4 months should be good enough for you to start taking a lot of practice tests and to get some idea of the score you're getting. Now at that point, if the score you're getting on your GMAT preps is not in line with what you wanted it to be, let's say you want a 720, you're getting a 650, 640, something like that, then it might be a good idea to make use of a private tutor. Because you see, it will be very difficult for you to then find faults with your approach. A third person will be able to find it much easier and faster. And at that point, it will be of no use taking full classes or a complete classroom course, because a lot of people even do that. After preparing by themselves, they go and enroll for a complete classroom course. That's an absolute waste of time, because at that point what you want is a very focused approach. So you want a coach who can identify chinks in your armor and who can tell you how to address those. So at that point, I think a private tutor will be much more useful if needed than a regular classroom course. But that's basically how your self-prep should go. If you are somebody who's naturally motivated or disciplined, I think self-prep will work for you. If you are somebody who needs to be continuously pushed, self-prep will not work for you. Then why waste time? Join some classes or get a tutor on board right away before you waste 3-4 months. So you guys know yourself best. So, but keep these things that I've told you in mind, and you should be good to start with your self-prep. If you get stuck somewhere in the middle, if you need some advice, feel free to get in touch with me. I'm always there to help you guys. So I hope you guys found this vlog informative, and I shall see you tomorrow in a new vlog. Have a nice day.